All right, so Hulu dropped another horror, sci-fi, thriller thing out of nowhere. Had never heard of this goddamn thing at all. Once, nothing, no advertisements,
Nothing.
no nothing. I missed it on my list of upcoming releases because on everything I looked on, this wasn't on there.
Yeah.
So this came out on the 9th, or the 8th or the 9th, something like that, a few days ago. And we watched it yesterday. And we're here to talk about it. So a guy wakes up in a room. He has no memory of how he got there. And he is tasked with the most inane task imaginable. And he's told he has to do this task or suffer the consequences. That's all I'm going to tell you. That's all I'm going to tell you. So, okay. This film is going to work for anyone who's ever worked a super dead-end job,
Yeah.
and will get the very, very obvious subtext that's going on in this movie. I mean, I was pointing, Kaylee and I both were pointing out, like, oh, that's symbolic for this thing in our life when we're at a job. So this is basically just a representation of work is hell done in a very symbolic and metaphorical way throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, it's like working in like late stage capitalism is literal hell. Yeah, I loved this film. I thought it was great. I was super into it, and I think the performance from the main actor, who is
the guy from Get Out,
Get Out, he was fantastic. I loved seeing him in this. I don't think I've seen him in anything other than Get Out. But I really liked his performance, and as on the nose as the metaphor is, I still thought that it was relevant and relatable, very relatable.
Yeah.
And I love the message, because I do think that that's like a big, I have a full-time job that I do not love. It's not in something that I'm passionate in.
Don't love. Yeah.
Just to understate it.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily because of people I work with. It's just that it's not my industry at all.
No.
But I definitely feel like I have to have this job because it pays me well and all this stuff. So I was like really relating to like this scenario, because it's what it feels like to be at work, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, doing like wasting time essentially, which is the most precious thing that we all have.
So there's a lot of films. And I completely understand what you're saying. I was a hairdresser for 19 years, never had any interest in the job, and felt like I was cutting the same head of hair every single time, and the hair was just immediately growing back the second I cut it. So it just felt completely pointless, inane, and I wanted to take the scissors to my own throat. But this does, of course, remind me of any like really intelligent use of one location, limited budget idea in a science fiction horror route, right? You've got a ton of examples where one guy or multiple guys and girls are in a room, and you're just using that set as the entirety of your film, whether it's Circle or Exam or Cube or Saw or whatever, right? Like there's so many of these types of films, and smart filmmakers who have a cool story can always take those stories and put them in this one single small confined location, which already creates claustrophobia.
Yeah.
Right? That movie we watched, Meander, where the girl's just crawling through the tunnel, and it's probably the same tunnel over and over and over again. Great stuff. Love these kinds of movies. I'm always a big fan of these. If I was to liken this to anything story-wise, it actually would not be those films that I just mentioned. It would actually be a couple episodes of the show Andor, the Star Wars show, when Andor is in prison and he's just being forced to make these parts as fast as they possibly can.
Yeah, definitely.
And they have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea what the purpose of these things are. They just know they're being exploited.
Yeah.
And for no good reason.
Right.
Right? And this is super representative of any fear, any hatred, any fears, anything, any time you've spent with jobs that are so unbelievably pointless to you.
Yeah.
That, like, what he has to do is the perfect metaphor
Yes.
for anyone who works in retail, who works at, like, especially, and I think this is, of course, what it's knocking more than anything, like a cubicle office job.
Yes.
Where you're just, you know, and if now it doesn't do it as well as Severance, right?
No.
The TV show that Ben Stiller
Yeah.
created. That show is next level. That's phenomenal. If you haven't seen that show, I couldn't recommend it high enough. So it's not on that level. So that one is much more intelligently like vague with certain things that you're like, oh, okay. You're really trying to analyze how it connects to what you're thinking about. This one is just very like, you know,
it's very
you
obvious.
know what this is.
Yeah, but it's still good though. It still is like very compelling to watch. And I think that, like, I mean, you've already said it, like, if you are somebody that is in a job that you don't like you're gonna be able to connect with this character and the situation really well.
Yeah.
So, and you know, Hulu has just been coming out with so many cool originals.
Yes.
I feel like every Hulu original that we've watched this year has been fantastic.
I didn't love Appendage like you did, but I liked it.
I loved it.
I liked it for sure. But
they're-
No One
they're
Will
all
Save
just-
You is
they're-
like number 2
just-
of the year for me.
Yeah, great, unique concepts, fresh concepts. Even if, you know, like this, you know, kind of thing, like the one location has been done before, and, like, you know, metaphors for hating a job or whatever have been done before. Like, it still feels very fresh to me.
Sure, it's a good movie. As I said, if you like movies like the things I've already mentioned, you know, Circle, Cube, whatever. If you like those kinds of movies, this is 100% up your alley.
Yeah.
This absolutely reminds me of any of those, like, very, very, like, small single locations. And I, you know, as on the nose as a lot of this stuff is, I didn't even get the reference to what he was doing until there was an overhead shot very late into the film.
Yeah.
And then it clicked into my brain what that was representative of. And then I was like, oh, wow, okay, I didn't even get that one. But when I got it, I was like, that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's just the perfect metaphor. So if you hate your job, this is the best horror movie for you right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So, yeah, big fan. Big fan. I will say I wasn't insanely satisfied with the ending. I did find that to be a tad lackluster because there's more of a promise than a catharsis.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would have liked to have seen it.
Sure. Yeah, me too.
Right? That left me a little blue ball-y. I just kind of sat there like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I get where you're going, but I want to go.
Yeah. I want to go too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll watch a part 2.
Yeah, I would.
Even though I don't know what the hell that would be. But yeah. So definitely check this one out. It's on Hulu, if we didn't say that enough, for Huluween.
Huluween.
And yeah, good on Hulu. Because we said they made some good ones this year. They made some great ones last year too.
Yeah.
They're really pumping them out. So good on Hulu for bringing us some cool original content.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let us know. Bye.
Bye.